Hi, my loves. Welcome to Body Wisdom, your podcast for all things related to nervous system regulation, feeling grounded in your body, and improving your relationships. I'm your host, Courtney Beyer, a holistic occupational therapist and yoga instructor based in Southern California. I am incredibly passionate about helping women connect to their mind, body, and soul to heal from trauma and truly thrive in their lives. If that sounds like you, you are in the right place. So grab your headphones and let's dive into today's episode. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to another episode of the Body Wisdom Podcast. I'm so excited to sit with you here today as we talk about a subject that I am very passionate about, and that is finding safety in your body. So before we dive in, I just have to say that this hour of recording the podcast is becoming my new favorite time of the week. I'm just having so much fun connecting with you all. And if you've reached out to me because you've listened to a podcast episode or something has shifted in your life because of this podcast, or if this podcast is really speaking to your heart, I just have been loving connecting with you all. So definitely do not be shy. Reach out if something is clicking with you that you're listening to, because I am just loving building this community, and this podcast is becoming something so special to me. I'm so excited to see where it all goes, but I just have a really good feeling about it. I wanted to share that with you. So let's dive in to today's episode. As you might know, I talk a lot about how to find safety in your body. I get this question so often, and I actually got a comment on one of my Instagram posts. So this really inspired this conversation today. And that is, what does it mean exactly to be safe in your body? I get a lot of questions like that. We can even go further. And some people ask, how can you tell if you don't feel safe in your body? And then if you don't feel safe in your body, how do you achieve that? Because the thing is I see a lot of people talking about safety. And I think that they are mostly referring to how to feel peaceful in your body, how to feel ease, how to feel good, grounded, and feel calm in your body. And this is true. Safety, there is an essence of safety where you do feel calm and peaceful in your body. However, it goes so much deeper than this when it comes to a physiological sense of safety within your nervous system. And I also felt inspired to talk about this today because at the current moment in my life, everything is kind of falling apart. And I know that sounds really dramatic, but it's kind of true. And this is something that I want to definitely open up more about as things begin to settle and I begin to integrate this kind of crumbling, if you will, that's happening in my life. But it actually all began in the beginning of this year, the beginning of 2024, when I started to have this inner knowing and I began to realize that I really needed to deeply trust my intuition, the wisdom of my body. And as somebody that is generally pretty connected to my intuition, I was still really holding on to certain things or ideas in my life. And I had a really deep knowing that I was going to need to release and surrender some things. So as I started to get this idea at the beginning of this year, I really got in my body and processed some things that I knew I really needed to surrender and release. There's also been so many crazy things that have happened in even the last few weeks that are very much out of my control. And again, I'm still very much in the depths of it, but it's almost like every single day something happens. And it's one of those things that I believe when we go through a chapter of our lives where it's a deep, everything's kind of falling apart, it's an invitation to surrender and connect back to our bodies. As I said, since I am in the depths of everything right now, I want to take some time to process everything and move through it on my own terms and really allow things to integrate, allow myself to open up to what all is happening right now. And I know that there's going to be some wisdom that I am going to desire to share. But at this moment, I'm going to continue to allow myself to process everything and move through it. But as I am witnessing this kind of collapse in my life, I can guarantee you that years ago, all of this happening, everything all at once would have shut me down in so many ways. And I probably wouldn't have been able to function as this past version of me. My nervous system used to be all over the place, and I used to have a really difficult time feeling safe when there was a lot of changes, especially changes out of my control. And I would often go into a sort of fight flight response, or I would shut down and isolate from the world. And this would lead to me staying in relationships that I probably should not have, and they were not serving me at all. And this was just happening because I was so disconnected from my body and I just didn't really have the capacity to hold what was going on. So that would lead to a lot of behaviors that just were not serving me. I also didn't really know how to nurture my physical and emotional body beyond the classic working out when you're feeling stressed or eating healthy to support your body. I didn't really know beyond that how to really soothe myself in these stressful situations. But now, as I am moving through the thick of these challenges, I genuinely feel incredibly resilient because I can hold both the discomfort that's coming with these big life changes. And at the same time, I generally feel okay and maybe even peaceful. And I'm holding boundaries and protecting my peace. And I feel really hopeful about the future. I feel connected to my body. I'm allowing myself to move through sadness when I'm having a really sad moment. I am allowing myself to feel angry when that anger starts to rise up. And I'm validating myself as I'm moving through this and I'm not running away from it like maybe I would have as a past version of me. So I'm honestly just welcoming all of it. And I want to use myself as an example because this is exactly what I walk my clients through when I help them find a sense of safety in their bodies. I help my clients learn how to feel safe so that they can move through challenges because I always say this, you cannot stop these challenges that come up in our lives. There's some things that have definitely been in my control that I've moved through this year. However, there's been a lot that is 100% completely out of my control. And something that is so helpful is really learning how to regulate your nervous system because all of the general advice out there is not tailored to your own unique nervous system. We're all incredibly different. I say this almost every podcast episode. Our unique needs of our nervous system are vastly different. And so it's really important to learn how to support yourself and help yourself move through challenges so that when these challenges come, because it's inevitable, it doesn't just overtake you to the point of where you're constantly running away from your problems or you're just shoving it all down deep in your body where it comes out later in life or it comes out as illness, disease in your body, and inflammation. So, the first thing that I want to talk about is that safety is not just about feeling peaceful all the time, because I see this a lot in this wellness space in the Instagram world where people talk about safety as like the goal. And what they're referring to is just how to feel peaceful, how to feel more ease. And if you think about it and you kind of sit in your body and think about the word safety and what that exactly means, I'm sure you kind of imagine it as something that feels grounded. It feels generally like calm, peace. So let's go a little bit further because when you lack a sense of physiological safety in your body, you might notice that when you encounter something stressful, so let's say that something happened at work that was completely out of your control, your body either wants to run for the hills and not look back. And this can often look like getting really reactive, sending an aggressive email to a coworker, or just like a passive aggressive email to a coworker, or just something that feels really out of integrity with you and just really reactive. Or It can also feel like you just want to shove everything down. You go numb, you go silent, like you get home at the end of the day at work and you just can't do anything except watch TV and scroll on your phone and like you can't move. You can't do anything that you know would serve you. You might also find that in these stressful moments, you have this desperate need to people please, that people pleasing feels like if you don't appease the person in the situation and try to immediately make it peaceful and you want to do whatever you think that person wants you to do, that is also a survival strategy because you're trying not to create conflict and you might feel like you're holding a lot of tension. You might have a high resting heart rate. You might have high blood pressure. You might feel like you're bloated all the time, like your stomach is constantly just feeling really upset. You might have been told by a doctor that you have irritable bowel syndrome. Or maybe you feel like, you're chronically constipated or just feeling really uneasy in your body. You might have a lot of tight muscles like neck pain, back pain. Your shoulders might feel really stiff. And you might feel just like generally really tense. So, this lack of safety, this inability to move through these stressful moments without completely going out in the fight flight mode or the freeze fawn mode all happens and arrives in our bodies through so many different ways. So, this might be from a birth trauma or any sort of trauma that you have experienced in your life. When you have experienced these traumas, and it doesn't have to be anything really big, it can be little small things that have happened over time, or it can be a big event, but it alters the way that your brain is able to soothe itself. This also can be from how we were raised with our caregivers. Maybe there's some abandonment wounds, or there was a lot of inconsistency from our mothers and fathers, our caregivers growing up. When you are used to living in this sense of fight or flight or freeze fawn, your body starts to get really used to living this way and it starts to crave scenarios that are going to make you feel this way. We get addicted to living on the edge or living in a really shut down state because our nervous system is going to constantly want to be around what's familiar. These pathways in our brain become very, very strong. And so we start to seek situations that keep us stuck in this fight, flight, or freeze fawn way of being. So a lot of times this looks like people when they say, like, oh, I thrive in chaos or I like really chaotic things. Maybe this person lives like a highly dramatic life where there just always seems like something is going on, a lot of drama is happening in their lives. Or maybe this person is living in a bit more of a shutdown state where other people have said, oh, this person is just lazy, they don't do anything, because it really is, they're just stuck in a state of chronic freeze mode. Again, these pathways in our brain and our nervous system become very deep, and it can be difficult to change once these pathways have become so ingrained in our systems. However, it is so possible for you to find a way to feel safe in your body and to not live in this dysregulated, unsafe way of being. It is completely possible. And it honestly can happen a lot faster than what you would think. As soon as you get connected to your body and teach your body how to thrive in a more safe state of being, it truly is so possible. And this is something that I'm so passionate about because if you continue living in this state of dysregulation, of feeling like you're in survival mode and you're not safe in your body and you're not feeling safe in your system, it can lead to a whole lot of potential health issues because living in this dysregulated state, this stressful state, leads to so much chronic inflammation in your body. It suppresses your immune system so that your immune system can't take care of the things that are happening in your body. And you're usually very disconnected from sensation in your body. So your radar of detecting if something is off or wrong is really off. So, what does safety look like? And how can you find that sense of safety in your body? When I talk about the word safety, I am referring to the actual social engagement system in your nervous system, which is from Dr. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory. And this response of your nervous system is what leads you to the social engagement system, which is also known as the safety circuit in your body. This safety circuit is also the surveillance system in our body that helps us look for safety in others and can help us determine if we should turn towards somebody and seek connection or if we should turn away from somebody and kind of distance ourselves and disconnect from this person or situation. And when you are operating in this social engagement system, when you are in this ventral vagal, is what it's referred to, way of being, you are feeling like there is possibility in the world. You don't have to feel great because I can tell you that when I'm navigating right now, even though I have a lot of resiliency in my nervous system, I'm not necessarily feeling great all the time, but I do have this sense of possibility in the world and in my body. It's not like you feel great and excited all the time, but you do feel hopeful even as you are moving through challenging moments in your life. And you also, in this ventral vagal state of being, you feel alert, you feel attentive, you feel ready, and your body is in a regulated state. You can also listen to others and you can soothe your own body, and you can also soothe others. You can also move in and out of connection with others. And in this state of being, you just are able to hold sensations that are a little bit uncomfortable. You welcome those sensations in your body, fully knowing that you have the capacity to hold it all, that there's nothing that you have to shove away. And every sensation that arrives in your body is welcomed because you know that if you're going to shove it down or if you react from it, that that's not really going to serve you in the long. So the goal is never to live a life where you're never triggered by your husband, your children, your or anything that happens in your life. And the goal is to not just try to live a life where nothing happens to you, but it is to learn how to create this resiliency within your body and find this sense of safety so that you can handle all that life throws at you with so much more grace and ease in your life. The way that you cultivate the sense of safety in your body is by learning how to connect to your unique nervous system. Once you start to recognize when your body is moving into that response, you will become aware of some of the patterns that you have. Maybe if you're getting triggered into the fight flight response, you notice that you just like want to react and say something that you don't mean to somebody that you love. Or maybe when you're noticing you're in that shutdown state, you're noticing that you're not saying yes to hanging out with your friends or loved ones. Or maybe you're thinking of this business idea that you really want to do, but you never do it because you're just in this shutdown state. So it's important to know where exactly you are in your body. And that comes by cultivating a deep sense of connection within. So once you're aware of how your body is responding to stress, what response pattern your nervous system starts to take, you then can take a lot of steps back and start to observe what sensations are currently flowing through your body. When you can take a step back and hold those sensations, you can cultivate greater space to feel into things and to feel safe holding the sensation, to not run away from the sensation, but be able to hold it. It's also important to know what supports your sensory system. So I know a lot of people might notice that when they're around bright flashing lights or fluorescent lights, or they're wearing clothes that are too tight, or eating certain foods that make them feel weird, really make you feel strange in your body. This is important to know that how to support your sensory system so that you can hold those sensations in your body. Something that I work with my clients is we get really in tune with what your sensory system craves and what your sensory system turns away from so that you know how to support your body. And that can help you, again, cultivate that sense of physiological safety within. When you recognize when your body is in that fight, flight state or freeze fawn state, you can also learn what exactly triggered you into that state. Was it because you were out in public and you saw somebody that you weren't really prepared to see? Or were you at work and you got a text message that really triggered you? Or, there's so many different things, but it's important to take a look at what triggered you and question and come into your body and ask yourself, what exactly was it about this situation that was triggering to you? Use this trigger as a mirror and allow it to help you look in your body and ask yourself, where exactly is this coming from? Am I afraid of being abandoned by somebody I love? Am I afraid of losing my job and not having resources to support myself? Like, it's really important to go into and use that trigger as a mirror to not shame yourself for getting triggered, but to look at what exactly threw me off and why did that happen? When you cultivate safety in your body, again, it's not just about feeling peaceful all the time or grounded. It's really this ability to hold all the ups and downs of life, all of the uncomfortable situations, all of the uncomfortable sensations, and learn how to turn towards yourself rather than turn away. So, again, just to recap that safety is not about feeling great all the time, but safety is about being able to hold the unique experiences of your life. We all are presented with so many unique challenges in our lives. When you build this resiliency in your body, you can have a greater appreciation for some of the challenges that you might face, and you can look at them with so much more respect because you see that these challenges are all just helping you grow and become the person that you desire to become. So I hope that this lands well with you all. And I hope that this resonates and that you walk away from this episode feeling like you have a greater understanding of what exactly it means to feel safe in your body. I definitely would love if you were to reach out and let me know what makes you feel personally safe in your body and what you took away from this episode as far as how you can cultivate a greater sense of safety in your body. Okay, my loves, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I really love hearing from you all about how the show resonated with you and would love it if you sent me a DM on Instagram to @herbodywisdom to keep the convo going. If you are loving the show, it would mean so much to me if you left a quick rating and review on Apple or Spotify. Thank you so much for listening. Catch you next time.